Well, hello! And may I just say, welcome back to Acne Beautiful video number 9. Uh-oh. I only have one hand. Video number 9, part 2. Yes, I was on here this morning and I ran out of time and did not get to talk about proteins. So I'm back. It's the end of the day. It is 5:23 here and I am having a little bit of wine. So cheers! I hope you had a great day too. Tell me, what did you do with your day today? I tiled a bathroom. Not again, but I've been tiling a bathroom for the past few days with my mother in the, can't see it, but there's a apartment in the back of this house that we've been renovating, which I've mentioned before, and yeah, so we did all of the tiling ourselves. Shower looks good. No big issues. Tomorrow we're going to tile the floor. Beautiful patterns. So I'm doing lots of things. Before I even made the video this morning, I taught English as a second language. Yes, I've been up since about 4. Yesterday I was up at 3. I do a lot of things during the day. But this is one of my favorites. Listen, I'm here for all of the experiences. I don't know about you, but this is also one of them. So, all right, I'm going to have a sip of wine, and then we're going to talk about protein. No protein in this, though. Okay, so if you're tuning back in, you got to hang out with me a little bit this morning when we talked about my inspiration and my motivation for creating Acne Beautiful, for putting this content out there. We reviewed some of the really important concepts behind limiting beliefs, unconscious thoughts, meditation, the energetic elements of Acne Beautiful, which doesn't just apply to healing your skin from within, but really to anything in your life. Okay, yes, it's just the very foundational level for our healing. Not just for healing, but really for bringing anything into your life that you are trying to create and achieve for yourself. So welcome back. Here we go. Let's talk about protein and why it's important, how we're going to include it on our plate. So this is our nutritional portion of the day, nutritional elements of the video, and let's review our plate so far. So we've got our nice, beautiful plate. We've got our vegetables on there. We've got some fruit. We talked about eating slowly. And then last week I mentioned healthy fats. So if you've had any experience with healthy fats since last week, please let me know what you have been up to. Maybe you bought coconut oil for the first time and cooked with it, or maybe you drizzled your olive oil onto your vegetables afterwards instead of cooking with it. If there's something that you discovered that you didn't know, I'd like to know. And if you have a question, please let me know. Like, this is the kind of material that takes time to talk about, takes time to break down, and we're never going to fit it all in these short little videos either, these short, long little videos. So you're going to have questions, and that's great. I encourage you to ask questions, and there's going to be elements that we just don't hit on because, like I said, these concepts are really complex, and especially when you're a detail-oriented person like myself, you know you can dive deep. That is why I mentioned earlier in part 1, there will be videos for those who are really, really committed to healing their skin from within, from home. There will be videos down the road where I dive deep into each concept. Okay, we haven't even gotten to the surface of the skin yet. We haven't talked about topicals. We haven't talked about supplements, well, except for the cod liver oil last week. We have not talked about your organs either. And yeah, there will be several videos on the liver alone, which is a huge, huge factor in understanding acne and understanding how to heal your skin from within. The liver plays a big role, and the liver is definitely, hands down, my favorite organ in the body. As I said that, my heart was like, excuse me, Okay, I love my heart too, but I love the liver. Liver lover, for sure. So protein, yeah, you've probably all heard this before. Proteins are the building blocks of life. Yes, yes, yes. Why did I skip over proteins in favor of healthy fats last week? Because healthy fats are complex. It's really easy to mess up. Or confuse what is a healthy versus a non-healthy fat, and then it gets even more tricky and convoluted when you try and decipher, is this supposedly healthy fat that's been sitting on the shelf in this jar, is this still good for me? Has it gone rancid? What's going on? So there's a lot to dissect when it comes to fats, and yeah, last week's video was just kind of the tip of the iceberg. So that's something else we'll dive deep into too down the road. So yeah, proteins, building blocks of life, super important. We need them as well. And yes, we're going to include some protein on our plate also. But it's a little bit, in my opinion, it's a little bit harder to mess up your protein. It's a little bit easier to mess up those healthy fats. Okay, so when we think about protein, I just want you guys to think about amino acids. And if you don't know anything about amino acids, that is okay. There are 9 essential amino acids that we need to get from our diets, and they make up protein. They comprise, when they're all put together, our bodies can make protein. Now, these amino acids, they are in a variety of the foods that we eat. That's also why it's important to have a diverse diet. Not just lots of colors, but lots of different things too that are going to be healthy, useful, and agreeable to your body. So yeah, we're going to talk a little tiny bit about allergens today too, since we're hitting the protein topic, and there are some things in there like dairy that I do want to discuss, just a little. So you can see each topic has a number of facets as well. So there are so many things to talk about when it comes to healing your skin from within. Anyway, just think about amino acids. When you hear protein, think about the amino acids. There are 9 of them that are essential that we have to get from our diet. Quality is also extremely important when it comes to protein, and we're going to talk about that. Let's see, what else? So yes, those fun little amino acids. There has been some debate over the years whether or not we need to consume all 9 amino acids in one sitting in order to have a complete protein, or if our liver will hold on to those amino acids as we eat throughout the day, as we kind of graze throughout the day, if our liver will hold on to them so that we can make a complete protein later in the day, whenever we get all 9 of those amino acids in there. From my understanding, and I've done a lot of reading on this, the current consensus that we've come to as a whole, as a society, at this point in time, is that we don't have to get all 9 of those amino acids in one shot. Our liver is very good at hanging on to them. It will wait for us. There's probably a point in time when, you've lost them. I don't even know. But for the most part, if you're eating periodically throughout the day, whether you're eating 3 full meals or you're kind of a grazer or you've got some snacks in there, you're getting these amino acids from various foods. You're getting them from your fruits. You're getting them from your vegetables. You're getting them from your nuts and seeds. You're getting them from protein sources, whether it's an animal-based protein or a plant-based protein. You're getting these different amino acids in different ratios and at different times throughout your day. And then your body can put them together and make a complete protein. Yeah! So with that concept in mind, I like to talk about that because it's helpful for those who are not going to rely on animal protein to know that they don't have to get all 9 amino acids in one shot. All right. Awesome. So, quality protein is probably the area that I'd like to start with most. You know, like I mentioned before, protein itself doesn't seem to be a big issue for those suffering from acne, and it's also not a huge issue in terms of getting enough. You know, I know there are a lot of diets out there that are heavy protein, you know, really emphasizing the protein, and oh God, if you're out there working out, you better have your protein, you know, immediately afterwards, and if you're under stress, you need extra protein, and there are elements of truth to each of these, yeah, but most of us don't have an issue getting enough protein. For one thing, a lot of us do consume complete proteins. And then in addition to that, we're getting these amino acids that we need, and we're making proteins. So in general, protein in foods is just not as hard to get. It's trickier to fall short on your protein than some of the other things in our diet, including vitamins and minerals. So rest assured, you're probably getting enough protein. And as far as affecting acne, like again, those healthy fats and rancid fats, they are a little bit more prone, you know, it's the end of the day, guys. They can affect your skin a little bit more easily than proteins, really. My experience with proteins has been varied, and I have tried a lot of different ways of eating over the years. I have definitely done raw vegan. I don't do that anymore. I do eat primarily plant-based now, but I don't prescribe to a label, and I do eat meat, okay? So jumping into acne and protein, what do we need to know? This is something really important. Quality, quality, quality. And I cannot state this enough. Quality over quantity, please. Absolutely. So when we're talking about quality proteins, we're really talking about conventionally raised animals versus non-conventionally raised animals, like pasture-based animals. Yeah, we're going to talk about quality when it comes to vegan proteins as well. So why is quality so important when it comes to protein and acne? Now, I made a video back in 2014, which I think had like 19 views or something like that over the course of the years, and it's a really sweet little video, but it's one of the first times where I talk about the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio in our bodies, and I did talk about that last week with healthy fats. We're going to just kind of review it real quickly again because it comes into play when we are talking about animal proteins from pasture-raised animals. Not all animals, so we're not really talking about chickens here, but we are talking about cows in particular, so our beef. Yeah, we live in America, and Americans love beef, so if you're a beef eater, listen up to this part. If you're not already doing this, which a lot of people already are, so yes, kudos to you all, because this information is becoming more mainstream over the last 5 years or so. So this is probably no surprise to any of you, but if you're a cow and you're out there and you're grazing away on all of that nice grass growing in the pasture and you're out there for most of the season, if not all of it, then you are getting what you need to make sure that you create things like zinc, L-carnitine, conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, and omega-3s, amongst other things. Okay, so you as a cow, will be making these crucial vital ingredients that make your meat what meat is. There are other things that you're going to get from that grass too that you're going to make. If you're a cow out there chomping away on that grass for most of the pasture season, your butter is going to be rich in things like butyric acid and K2, really good stuff. So these are important, very, very important nutritional elements to the food. Now on the flip side, when we have a cow that's been fed an unconventional a conventional diet. Yeah. So, yeah, man, it really is the end of the day. Maybe I should have some more wine. So if you have your cow that's being fed basically the standard American diet, it's your factory farm raised cows. They may get some time out on the pasture, but, maybe not. You got to be really careful about those language they like to slap on the packages, and that's another thing we'll have to talk about. But unfortunately, if you're one of those cows, your days probably aren't so happy. You're not out in that field grazing away out in the sunshine, eating to your heart's content all of the bright green grass. No. What are you eating? You're eating grain and you're eating corn, and this is not your natural diet, and you're getting sick because of it. And because you're getting sick and you're in these nasty confined quarters with other animals, you need hormones, you need antibiotics. And because we want to fatten you up quicker too, so we can get you out of here and make some money off of you, we're going to give you some hormones as well. This is not only problematic for all of society, but it's really problematic for those who suffer from chronic conditions. These cows, they're not producing things like zinc, or very little of it. They're not producing much L-carnitine. You're just not getting the conjugated linoleic acid. There are other nutrients as well that we are missing from that beef. Primarily, we're really missing our omega-3s. Again, since that cow did not graze on the pasture and it ate the corn and grain-fed diet, it didn't have the necessary ingredients that it needed to produce the omega-3s. So you end up with beef with that reversed ratio. You end up having beef with that 30-to-1 ratio, 30 omega-6s to 1 omega-3. And you end up with a pro-inflammatory product. You end up with pro-inflammatory meat. So when you put that in your body, guess what? It's not going to help soothe or quell the inflammation that is already present. In addition to that, you're only further upsetting your omega-3 to 6 balance, which we already talked about how important it is to get that correct. So that's number one. Number two, you're also getting all of these hormones, all of the antibiotics, and that is a lot of work for the liver. The liver needs to break them down, and then your body needs to excrete them. And there is a process to that. The liver goes through a 2-stage process, in fact, to excrete a lot of hormones. And it's a little bit time consuming for the liver, and the liver has a lot of jobs. So if it's bogged down already, which often if you're chronically suffering from acne, you have an overburdened liver, and we got to clean that guy up. We got to get him happy, working really well again. So what does that liver need? Does it need more junk thrown its way? Does it need more stuff to have to break down and eliminate? No, it definitely doesn't. And if it's not even doing its job efficiently in the first place, then you bet those things are not leaving your body as quickly or as efficiently as they should be. They're getting stored, they're hanging out, and yeah, they're wreaking havoc on your skin. Okay, we have enough to try and control and deal with our own hormones in relation to our skin. All right, we don't need them from these external sources. So that is a big reason why choosing protein, if you do suffer from acne, I just want you to focus on choosing a clean protein if you're eating animal protein. And it's fine to eat animal protein if that's what you want to eat. From there, okay, so looking at something like your chickens, similar concepts. We're not getting into omega-3s here so much, although, the hen's eggs, the yolks will contain omega-3. If you are getting a chicken and those eggs that were, once again, that chicken was out there grazing around, finding the worms, finding the bugs, doing its own thing, not stuck in that teeny tiny little cage, eating a natural diet, etc., etc., etc. So Again, if you're going to eat chicken, just please look for those kinds of, there we go, organic, free-range, USDA certified, organic, free-range animals. We will talk about the labeling because that can get a little bit tricky, but for now, please do look for those simple words. USDA organic, grass-fed, pasture-raised. You can really take it a step further and look for things like at least 180 days on the pasture, something like that. They will often tell you if the animal was finished on grain or not. So many little, things to look out for when it comes to this stuff. So that's animal-based protein in terms of quality and looking at those omega-3s and omega-6s once again. Yeah. I mentioned eggs for a second. If you struggle with super cystic, very inflamed acne, eliminating eggs from your diet may help. Actually, if you suffer from acne that is more than mild, like moderate and beyond, removing eggs from your diet for a while may be beneficial to you. There's some controversy around this, but eggs potentially feed viruses, and there are so many viruses out there that, I'm not talking about coronavirus here, but there are so many viruses out that we come in contact with, throughout our lives. A lot of us have viruses that we just live with, okay? And take this with a grain of salt. Viruses do ingest and excrete. They will feed off of heavy metals, and they will feed off of eggs. It's, from what I've read, a preferred fuel source for viruses. Now, what does that have to do with acne? Again, this is a little bit controversial, and it hasn't been verified by science yet, but there are some schools of thought that point to strep, the virus strep, as a potential instigator of acne. And strep, doesn't just have to be present in your throat where you get cultured and you're diagnosed as having strep throat. You can have it present in other parts of your body without it actually presenting as a sickness like strep throat or a viral infection. Yeah. So if you're really struggling and you're looking to kind of do an elimination diet, eggs would be one of those things that I would recommend eliminating. And eggs are one of the top 8 allergens. A lot of people are allergic to eggs. Some people don't even know that they're allergic to eggs until they remove them and then add them back in, and they're like, why the heck am I itching? Or why do I have blotchy sort of rosacea-like skin? I've seen people benefit from the removal of eggs in terms of that. So once again, everybody's different, and you do have to do some experimenting, but eggs can be one of those tricky little guys. Just remember, anything that you decide to eliminate from your diet for now, you will probably be able to add back in the future, okay? Or you will be able to add back in the future, more than likely. But there is a healing process that we need to go through, and we need to get things stabilized so that we can handle some of the foods that we used to eat again. All right? Great. So we've got a little bit of that behind us now. What else do I want to say here? I'm just going to take a peek-see at my notes. Yep. Good. Got all that. All right. Wow, moving pretty quickly here. Since we're on the allergen topic for a moment, let's throw some dairy in there. Same issues. If you're consuming dairy from an animal that was conventionally raised. So again, the cow eating the grains, eating the corn, eating a diet that is not natural to it. Again, you're gonna have the same problems with your milk that you have with the beef. Different set of vitamins, different set of minerals, differences there, but you're gonna have the same set of issues. In addition to that, not only does milk contain a lot of natural hormones, because it really is a food for the baby animals, to help them grow big and strong really fast, there are the additional hormones in there as well that you're getting from your factory farm meat, right? From the factory farm animal. So milk, I just say, if you're at that point where acne is an issue for you, take the milk out for a while. Take the dairy out for a while. I know dairy includes cheese, and that can be super triggering for people. One thing at a time. And I want you to decide if it's something that you want to try or not. But if you're really struggling and other things aren't working and you have to hit every area, these are some of the things that you can begin to think about reducing or eliminating from your diet. Okay, and if you have to pick one over the other to start, take the milk out, take the ice cream out, leave the cheese for now, okay? At least the cheese has gone through some fermentation process. Likewise with the yogurt, if you need to leave the yogurt in for now, just look for some plain, naturally fermented yogurt, and then, A-okay for now. But then you have to kind of individually assess what's going on for you, and if your skin is really, if your skin is really, really angry, you might just want to go ahead and take a few things out to start. Again, that's why we started with what can you add in? Like, you can add in more fruit, you can add in more vegetables, and most of us absolutely need to. So by adding things in, you reduce the amount of room that's left for the other things. And it feels a little less sad. But remember, nothing is forever. Nothing is forever. And your brain and your taste buds, they do change. They do adjust. And it can take about 2 weeks or so for your brain to catch up with what you're doing, and for something that tasted gross to suddenly start tasting good, or something that you craved all the time to start to kind of dissipate and leave. So just remember, nothing's forever. You can always go back, and part of healing, part of changing your life is making different decisions and doing things differently. And the very, very hardest thing about changing anything is just not doing what you did before, right? Yeah, so good. I love this. I love this. Okay, so let's jump into some non-animal forms of protein, some vegan forms of protein. And there are so many forms of protein out there, guys, and we're just not going to get them all today because it's 28 minutes into this. But I'm going to mention some of the big ones. So if you are plant-based and you love soy, one thing to just look out for: soy's fine. Go ahead, have your soy. There are lots of great things about soy, and soy takes a beating, but there are a lot of good things about soy. For one thing, I want you to look for organic soy always. Very, very important when it comes to soy, because if it's not organic, it is GMO soy for the most part. Yeah, it's one of those crops like canola that's really, really prevalent in the GMO industry. And it's really, really heavily dosed with pesticides as well. Soy, in addition, to having the non-organic and the GMO issues, it's an individual thing. So it's one of those common allergens once again. So if you have an issue with soy, don't eat it. Or if you eat soy and you're noticing some things just not feeling right, or your skin's getting a little bit worse, then don't use soy. But there are some different types of soy out there that you can get into if you do like soy and it doesn't bother you. And one of my favorites, is a fermented soy called tempeh. It has some other stuff in there too. It's not just soy, but it's a fermented soybean. And generally speaking, when you see a fermented food, the fermentation process itself makes it a little bit more absorbable in terms of the nutrient content, a little bit more bioavailable for those nutrients, and a little bit easier to digest as well. The other thing that you get from a fermented product is probiotics, right? Good stuff, very good stuff. So yeah, if you like soy, just please be on the lookout. No GMO, go organic. The organic soy is really not expensive either. You can get a really nice firm piece of organic soy in the package, $1.99, $2. No big deal. What else? What else can you eat if you don't eat meat? So, of course, you can combine things to create your protein. So once again, getting back to those amino acids, we all know the very common rice and beans. So, rice has a number of amino acids. Beans have a number of essential amino acids. Put them together in one meal and you get a complete protein. Yeah. So if you ever are really concerned too, like, I don't know, my liver is hanging on to those amino acids for me, you can always combine proteins to really ensure that you're getting the complete protein in one shot. All right. There are some great protein products out on the market as well, as far as things that you can add to like a protein shake. I'm not going to get into them today, but if you are already on that track, again, just look for things like organic. You want sprouted. You want to know where the protein sources are coming from. Okay, so just as important to read those labels on your supplements as it is to read those labels on the packages of food that you buy. Some of my favorite forms of protein, and I'm a little bit of everything, I eat some meat, I eat nuts and seeds, I eat hemp seeds, and then I do seaweeds and other algae and just all sorts of weird things that you wouldn't think even have protein. But so here's some oddballs, but things like spirulina, blue-green algae, chlorella, these actually do contain protein. What are these things? These are generally your algae. But yeah, they do contain protein. And some of them contain complete proteins as well. Moringa leaf powder actually contains some protein. So you can get your protein from these superfood sources as well. And you can get some really high quality protein from some of these superfood sources to really help fuel you for the long haul. A quality protein is going to go further in terms of the grams that you take compared to a non-quality protein. You don't need as much of it. Yes, which is so fantastic. Then we have hemp seeds. I just love hemp seeds. Hemp seeds are a great quality protein. You can add them to your smoothies. We talked about hemp seeds just a little bit last week when I talked about quality fats. So they will be a source of quality fat. You will get a little bit of ALA from your hemp seeds, which your body needs to convert to EPA, DHA, your omega-3, if your body can make that conversion for you. So there's the potential of some omega-3s from the hemp seeds as well. But yeah, great source of protein. Love, love, love them. All right. Then we have our nuts and seeds. So again, decent source of protein. I don't want you to get too crazy about, am I getting enough protein? How much protein do I need to have? Really, I want you to focus on, since we're not talking about bodybuilding here. This is not what we're doing. We're talking about maintaining healthy skin. We're talking about clearing your skin. Do we need enough protein? Yes, we need enough protein. Do we get enough protein? Generally speaking, we do. Okay. Yeah, there's seaweed. That's a whole nother ball game. You can go down that road. Again, the main thing we want to look out for here is quality, quality, quality. And we did talk about seafood. Did I say seaweed a second ago? I love seaweed. We did talk about seafood last week also when we talked about those healthy fats, because I was really focusing heavily on cold water fatty fish. Okay, so if you like seafood as your source of protein, yeah, have your fish, go wild, but really try and incorporate some more of those cold water fatty fish that we talked about as well. So yes, your salmon, yes, mackerel, yes, sardines, yes, anchovies, yes, herring. And that way you're also going to get some omega-3 as well. We want you to cover as many bases as you can. Something else I love about those little fish, not the salmon, but like your anchovies and the sardines, is that the fillet, the fish in the can comes in the whole fish. You just go ahead and eat it. And guess what? The bones are in there. Yeah, you can get them boneless, but go ahead and get them with the bones. You're not going to notice. It's not like when you eat a bigger fish and you're like, oh my god, I got a bone and it's big and it's poking me. It's not like that. They're really tiny. You don't even notice you're eating them, and they are a fantastic source of calcium. Okay. So I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say about protein today. Didn't expect it to be that long. Oh my gosh, it's always so long. But like I said, these are complex topics with many, many facets, and we are skimming the top here. We are, tip of the iceberg here, because there is just so much to talk about, so much to cover. And this is why when I would have one-on-one sessions with people, even if it was just standard nutritional health coaching and not complexion coaching, I feel like I wanted to give them everything all at once. And not only is that not good for me, it's not good for you guys either. That is just information overload, and you just can't process, you can't take it all in, and then you feel like this is just too much for me, it's overwhelming. So we're going to keep it simple, and we will just build on it from there. So the main things to remember from today: quality, 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 quality over quantity. So we talked about quality proteins when it comes to picking an animal source, and we talked about quality proteins when it comes to picking a vegan source of protein as well. There are a lot of different vegan sources of protein that we didn't even get to here today. So if there's one that you really like and you're concerned about it, especially in relation to acne, go ahead and ask me about it, and we'll touch on it. And yeah, we're going to dive deeper. Once again, we will dive deeper into protein. But like I said in the beginning, most people don't have an issue getting enough protein in their diets. Okay, so quality protein, look for things like grass-fed, organic, pasture-raised, at least 180 days on the pasture, things like that. Non-GMO, definitely look for that. If you're on the soy train, if you're buying something that's not organic, you can look for the non-GMO verified symbol. All right, that's going to at least give you an idea whether or not there are GMOs in the product. Okay, it may not be organic, but you can discern from there, well, is it GMO free or not? We talked a little bit about eggs, and we talked a little bit about dairy as well. So I really hope that this video was helpful for all of you. So helpful, so that when you're building that beautiful plate, you've got your beautiful piece of protein, you've got lots of vegetables, you have some nice fruits, some quality fats, and then we're going to add some grains. Okay, we're going to use grains really sparingly, but we are going to use them. One last thing about your protein: about the size of your palm, very personal to you. So if you're thinking like, how much do I actually need? Using your palm as a reference for measurement, pretty useful tool. I've mostly seen that used for meat. I don't do that myself. I'm just more of an intuitive eater at this point. I was really super strict for years, but that's when I was on my own clear skin healing journey. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, and once again, I am so happy to be here with all of you along for this ride. So, wow, 2 videos in one day. My mouth is dry. Good night, you all. Enjoy and pick out some quality protein. Moo! Yeah, a lot about beef today. You'd think I'm all about animal protein, even though I'm not, but there's something for everyone. Okay, guys. Bye!